With the drama that's out there today, sometimes you earned it 3 times. I think when I sell a book for $1, I sell a book for $10 and I make $1 on that book, if I sell it to one person, I earn my money. If I sell it to 10 million people, I earn my money. Shut up. See, service is what business is. Business is the opportunity to move into the marketplace and help someone. Serve them or provide them a product, a good that gives them lift. Now, somebody somewhere decided that was evil in the media, and I'm about sick of it. It is not about big evil people taking advantage of people. It's about people helping other people and getting a tip. Woo! And I will not apologize for winning. I will not apologize for going into the marketplace and helping millions of families completely change their lives and getting wealthy in the process. I earned it. Shut up. And the same is true for you. If you sell 2 houses, you get 2 commissions. You sell 200 houses, you get 200 commissions. Don't look over there and go, well, I wish I had some of his money. It's not your money. You didn't earn it. Shut up. My friend Rabbi Lappin, Orthodox Jewish rabbi, is a good friend of mine, and he's a blast. He goes, Dave, everybody needs a rabbi, even you Christians. He and I have become great friends. He wrote a wonderful book called Thou Shalt Prosper, Why Jewish People Have a Tendency to Prosper. And he says in that book, he says, when you serve well in the marketplace, people give you certificates of appreciation, and they have presidents' faces on them. So serve in the market and get a certificate. Get a lot of certificates, which is an indication you have won. Now, there certainly are people and companies who take advantage of people and do harm, but the vast majority of them are found out by their customers. Can you say social media? I mean, you do something wrong, it's on Twitter in 30 seconds. You do something wrong, it's all over Facebook in 20 seconds. Today, evil corporations, evil companies, evil people who are taking advantage of people do not survive. Only those who are doing the right thing for the right reasons and are helping people are the ones that win. So as we sat down, we said, how can you do business? How can you do business and not lose your soul? How do you enter into business as a moral transaction? And what are the 5 key components of business? Because business matters. Well, the first one for your outline, are you ready, is people matter. If you don't put that at the center of who you are, and this is an easy one for this group. Some groups I talk to, they're so transactional, they're not relational, they don't get that people matter. You're in a people business. If people don't matter to you, you probably didn't even have the money to get here today, okay? You got the people matter part. You really got that if you're in this business. I grew up real estate. I told you that, so I know how most of you tick. I know what you look like. I can even spot the business cards. I go, oh, that's a realtor. You know, I mean, it's, you know, you can identify the nuances of this industry. And so people matter. You know that. But if you don't have that as a core thing at the center of who you are in business, you will fail. Your customers matter. They're not a transaction. They have a story. Their grandmother just passed away with cancer. Their brother called this morning and he's getting a divorce after 23 years. The family dog was part of the family. Just had to be put down. I just got a raise and a promotion, the best year of my life financially. This is the nicest car I've ever owned. They've got a story. They're not a transaction. They're people. Their marriage matters. Their future matters. Their legacy matters. Their children matter. And you know how you know if they matter? You know their name. Still. Now, I know some of you do hundreds and hundreds of transactions, and it's impossible for you to know everyone's name. It's impossible for me to know everyone's name. I have 400 folks working for me. I feel like that boss on Christmas vacation. I call everybody by the wrong name. It's ridiculous. We actually have flashcards for our leadership team to memorize all the new people so we can know their name, because people matter. Your customers have a story. And when you're helping them in a transaction to move their family to a different home, you are meeting them at one of the toughest times of their life. You and moving companies and dentists. They are not at their best when their family is being pulled up by the roots and moved. They're not their best self right then. They're stressed. They're mean. They're scared. They have drama. They're people. People matter. People call us, they're tore all to pieces. They call us up, they're in foreclosure, or they're about to lose their home, or about to lose their car on a repossession. We're in the same business. We help hurting people. Not our whole business, but a portion of our business does financial counseling, financial coaching for those that are about to fall over. Their marriage is hanging on by a thread. The number one cause of divorce in North America today, money fights and money problems. People matter. You don't stop and breathe that in a culture that's becoming increasingly transactional rather than relational, you're going to fail, and you deserve to fail. I'll be glad when you're out of the business. And your competitors and friends will be glad you're out of the business, because you're one of those. If you got friends that are just transactional, they're not really friends. Every time you see them coming, it's about what they're going to get. Those aren't real friends, are they? Those are the people you see them coming and you try to turn and slip around the corner somewhere. Because to them, everything's a transaction. Now, we got to do transactions in business. Don't misunderstand me. But at the core of the transaction is a family's dreams. You're helping them with their home. This is where a young man is going to come in and sit down at my kitchen table and ask me, in my home, to marry my daughter. He dared to do that. These are the things that happen in the home. The grandbaby is brought home. The baby is brought home. Birthdays are celebrated and anniversaries are celebrated, and horrible tragedies are grieved in that home. People matter. Your team members that you lead, they're people. Yes, they've got to get their job done. Yes, they've got to get their work done. That's part of the process we're all doing together. And ultimately, you have to do that. But sometimes people need a little grace. And how many of you have ever screwed up? Raise your hand. How many of you didn't raise your hand and have a problem with lying? People screw up. Now, do you just be an enabler and just let somebody that's not performing go on and on and on? That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, when a 27-year-old that works on my team's mom's got cancer, to expect her to be at peak performance is probably unrealistic as a leader that thinks that people matter. We're going to give her a little bit of a pass for a while. Stuff like that happens. Your vendors are people. The people that put the signs up, that deliver the printing, the people you interact with to build your websites, those are people. They have dreams. They have fears. They have a life. They have a plan. And when you don't treat them like people, it changes everything inside of you and inside of your business, and it sets you up for failure. Even your competitors are people. I know it's shocking. Now, I don't go over and give my competitors business. If we're going to be on the field, we're going to put a helmet on, we're going to line up, I'm going to knock you on your butt. We're going to compete, that's fine. But all the major talk radio hosts in America are friends of mine, and I will take them off of a station tomorrow to put me on. So don't misunderstand. We're on the field to play, we're going to strap on the helmet, we're going to give a hit. But I'm going to reach and pick you up, and every time I can help you in any way, I will. And so a friend of mine in the business a while back said some things on the air that shouldn't have been said. Had a stupid moment in front of millions of people right there with the microphone on. And their career is now over because of the haters in our market, the transactional people who have no way to look at 20 years of serving people and helping people on the air offset by a 45-second moment of stupidity. And and the entire career was ended. When I emailed him and said, don't you dare quit. Don't you let the haters drive you out of the business. I'll take all your stations if you quit, but don't you dare quit. We need you in the marketplace. Talk radio won't be the same if you're not on the air. They emailed me back and said, you're the only person in the business that reached out to me. Now, am I holy? Am I a great guy? No. Just ask my team and my wife. I'm not. I'm a hard-driving, button-pushing, butt-kicking guy, man. And it's not always fun to be around me. But at the core of my soul, I have to remember, as an act of my will and sometimes as an act of my heart, that people matter. And I'm not trying to drive everybody out of the business. I'm going to go win. We're going to compete. I'm in the Super Bowl every time I strap it on. I get all of that. But people matter. You see, your opportunities come through other people. Your opportunities don't come from your bright ideas. Your bright ideas will not get implemented unless people help you implement them. You don't get to be number one unless you get that people matter. You don't get to win in your market center, in your marketplace, in your city, within your team. You don't get to win until you grasp that your opportunities come through other people. Think about who you like to help. You like to help other people who have a generous spirit, who think that other people matter. The first name and face that comes into your mind when an opportunity appears is not Mr. Talented, it is Mrs. Relational. We all know talented twerps we don't want to work with. They're transactional, they're brilliant, and nobody wants to be in the building with them because they're twerps. Nobody wants to hang out with them. Because to them, everything's a transaction. Rabbi has another wonderful saying. He says, God is inordinate. You can write this one down if you can remember it. It's good. He says, God is inordinately pleased when we are obsessively, compulsively preoccupied with the needs of others. You put that one down as a business principle. God is inordinately pleased when we are obsessively, compulsively preoccupied with the needs of others. Think about it. When you've got two teenagers and one of them's heading off to school and the other one volunteers to help his sister move into the dorm. When your children cooperate and they care about the needs of others, doesn't that make you smile? It makes God smile. When his children cooperate and they care about the needs of others. Zig Ziglar used to say, I miss Zig already. I'm going over there this afternoon with Tom, his son. They live here in Dallas. Miss Jean, the redhead, and I'll get to see her again. And when I finish up here, we're going to go do a little video. They're doing a whole series of tribute videos from other speakers to Zig. And Tom, his son, is about my age. But Zig used to say, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll always have what you want. We changed that around our place. We just say, if you help enough people, you don't have to worry about money. If you serve enough people in your industry, you don't have to worry about money. And when you're sitting and doing an analysis and you're not kneecap to kneecap with somebody's getting ready to do a transaction of some kind, you're unemployed because you're not serving. When you're not talking to somebody about business, you're not serving. When the waiter is sitting in the back and my water glass is half empty, he's not serving. When he comes out and interfaces with the customer, that's when he's serving. Because people matter. The next one, and you guys knew that one. That one was easy for you. The next one's tougher. An incredible team and a culture of excellence matters. Incredible team and a culture of excellence matters. And those are one thing. You can't have a culture of excellence without an incredible team. And you can't have an incredible team without a culture of excellence. Because here's the deal. If you have 4 or 5 really good people on your team and you hire 4 or 5 that aren't, guess who will leave? The good ones. Thoroughbreds don't hang out with donkeys. They leave. You can't figure out why you can't keep down talent. It's because you kept the no talent. You can't figure out why you can't keep people who are good people, who are quality value system, who are relational. It's because you kept the immoral twerp who's doing all this other stuff and nobody wants to hang out with filth. Good people don't want to hang out with that. They don't want to spend time with people who every other word out of their mouth is something that nobody ought to be saying. I'm not a prude. It's just you become who you hang around with. And thoroughbreds know that. And they know if they hang out with donkeys, they'll start, instead of running, they'll start just kind of standing around being stubborn. Thoroughbreds won't run with donkeys. So the easiest way to get an incredible team is to get an incredible team. The easiest way to keep an incredible team is to keep an incredible team. Now that was deep. Did y'all hear that? So how do you do that? Well, it starts with the leader has to have a servant mentality. Now, I heard a speaker say one time in a Christian setting, he said, now, real leaders are servants. And I went, yeah, right. Because I heard subservient, not servant. Servant is an act of service. And once I realized that I'm serving someone by assisting them being where they should be and doing the things they should be doing, then I am serving. For instance, I'm assisting my 10-year-old by making him bathe and brushing his teeth. And so as a dad, I am serving my daughter by not letting her go out with that guy. Because I used to be that guy, and I can see him a mile away.
Right on, brother.
Now, she doesn't feel served. Her mama might not agree with me, and I don't give a rip. You're not going out with that guy. I'm an old-fashioned dad. I'll be sitting there cleaning my gun when y'all get home. I am a servant in my home. Sometimes you're serving people by allowing them to work somewhere else. Fly and be free in Jesus' name. I don't think this is right for you. I had a lady come in a while back. She said, I feel like God is telling me that my time here is up. She sat down with one of my new leaders who knows that when your time is up, your time is up. We're okay with that. You can not work for us and still go to heaven. So if God is telling you to leave, that means you should go. And so my leader was a little bit abrupt and needed to be a little bit nicer. But this lady got sat down. She gets all religious and spiritual with her language, you know, because they want to play the God card, which means they got God on their side and the devil's on your side, right? So she's like, well, you know, God, my time here is up. And my leader's like, okay, let's get a box and clean out your desk. We'll work it out. And they're like, whoa, that was a little quick. I didn't want to leave just today. I wanted to discuss this a little more. No, when it's time for you to be free, it's time for you to be free. When you release someone, it's as if you've set something free. To discharge someone is to let them out of prison. They have been discharged. That's serving. Now, I'm being kind of smart aleck, but, you know, we have this idea that servant means subservient, and it's not. And yet you sometimes have to sit around and say, okay, who's really doing what here? Because in a good organization, the organizational chart doesn't look like this with the king on top or the queen on top. A good organization is inverted and the servants are on the bottom. Now, they're not weak of mind, soul, or spirit. They will serve you in some ways that will make you uncomfortable, but they understand they're there to serve you. We have a big party with our bunch, and our family reunions aren't nearly this glorious or big, but for us, they're big because everything's relative, right? And we had a summer picnic a couple of years ago, about 4 years ago, out at the YMCA park, and it's this massive park, and so we've got a young team. The average age on our team is about 27 years old, and I got to be honest with you, they're fertile. They're all pregnant all the time. It's ridiculous. And we have kids coming out our ears around that place. We had a Halloween thing a while back, and it looked like the old neighborhood. I mean, kids are just swarming over the building, going around collecting candy at each of the workstations in our place. It was fun. It was so fun. But we had this summer picnic, and so our HR team got everything ready for all the kids. Because, you know, there's 300 and something of us, plus spouses, plus kids. So there's going to be 1,000 people at this picnic, which for our little company was like, whoa, 1,000 people. So I got my little notes for the day from the HR people, and they said there's 97 children going to be here under the age of 12. Now, my kids are all grown and gone, except at that point, my son was still at home. This was a few years ago, Daniel. And so Daniel, he said, Dad, do I have to go over to this? And I said, absolutely. and you get the benefits of being Ramsey. Your butt will be there. And so Daniel and me and Sharon, we get out of the car, and everybody's already there, a lot of things going on, and we get out of the car, they've got the blow-up bouncy things and the zip lines, and the whole field is full of these toys. It looks like an anthill. Kids are crawling all over everything. And Daniel and I, Sharon peels off, finds somebody to talk to about something important, I'm sure. So Daniel and I are just kind of walking along, looking at this spectacle. And it hit me suddenly. I said, "Hey, buddy, stop here a minute. What do you see?" And he said, "Oh, no, this is one of those tests." Yep, teachable moment, Bubba. What do you see? I see a large daycare and the reason I want to leave. Okay, smart angle. What do you really see? He goes, "Dad, I see a bunch of kids. What are you talking about?" I said, "Daniel, your dad's on the radio every day. Your dad's on stages and on video and on Fox News and on CNN every week." And I said, "Daniel, do you understand that there's 97 kids here under the age of 12, and if your dad doesn't control his mouth, or worse than that, your dad engages in stupid man tricks, that it's going to affect this whole company? And that some of those kids you're looking at right there won't go to college if I screw up. Some of those kids you're looking at right there could even lose their car or their home because their dad or mom lost their job because I screw up. What you see there, son, is called responsibility." "Dad, that's heavy." Welcome to leadership, son. Leadership's about service. And here's what's worse, Daniel. If you're 16 years old and you decide to get drunk and hit somebody head on in your Jeep and kill somebody, it'll be on the front page of the paper for months because you're my son. And because of that action, some of those kids might not go to college. He goes, "Well, how did I sign up for this?" I said, you didn't really sign up for it. You were born into it, and you get all the benefits of being a Ramsey. You've done things and seen things and been places that I never did until I was 30, and you're not even a real person yet. So you get all the benefits of being a Ramsey, but you need to understand it's called a family of privilege for a reason. It's a privilege to serve. And you need to drill that deep into your soul every time you open up that computer and you decide you're going to type something on a blog. Every time you open up your mouth and you're going to say something. Every time you drive in a certain way or engage in a certain action, it has impact because leaders serve. And our family is a family of service. We're a family of leaders. Step up to it, man. He's becoming a wonderful young man, by the way. I'm very proud of him.
That's a good one, Dave.
If you're going to have an incredible team and a culture of excellence, hiring and firing matters. Let me tell you what we did. Every time we made a mistake hiring and Crazy got in the building, y'all ever let Crazy in the building? When Crazy gets in the building, we find out what door they used. We got to close that door. So every time we didn't do something and we find out later, well, if we had done this, we could have kept Crazy out of the building. We add a step. We're up to about 14 steps. It takes about 90 days to get hired with us. But we have almost no turnover. We win best place to work. Everybody's smiling, happy, healthy, and working. It's a weird place to work. Very weird. So here's a big thing. If you want to just take a couple notes on a couple things. When you get ready to hire, let me tell you, you're doing a market center or you're starting to build your team or you're doing training, whatever it is, and you're getting ready to put people on your team that you're going to have the opportunity to serve. The first mistake, and you guys are bad about this because I was bad about it, and I'm cut out of the same DNA you are, take more time when you're hiring. Slow down. However many interviews you're doing, you need to double it or maybe quadruple it before you hire them. You don't hire somebody and put them on your team and let them infect and engage your customers and the rest of your team after one 30-minute interview. Will they look good? Hey, a psychopath, an axe murderer can pull it off for 30 minutes. One 30-minute interview is just a drive-by, and on your first little interview as a drive-by, you use 2 ears, 1 mouth ratio. You listen for 20 minutes, talk for 10. Don't go 32 minutes, don't go 31 minutes. Go 30 minutes or less. You're not going to hire them that day anyway if you're smart. Slow down and add steps to your hiring process. Because here's what happens. You're busy, you got a lot of things going on, and the hiring process means you got to stop working, unless you've got your own HR team. You got to stop working and deal with interviews. So stuff wasn't getting done before. That's why we're hiring somebody. Now double stuff's not getting done because I've got to stop working and interview somebody. But if you don't do that right, you get to do it over and over and over again. And you'll end up with a stable full of donkeys instead of a stable full of thoroughbreds. Take more time when you're hiring. The first step we use as people of faith is we pray before we hire. We pray before we even post the position. And we say, Lord, send us the people that you want us to have and keep your crazy children away. Lord, protect us from some of your children. Because there's nothing as flaky as a Christian flake. I had one lady that came to work for us, and she worked there about 3 weeks, and she decided she was going to quit. She wanted to do an exit interview, and I said, well, I don't do exit interviews. If you're leaving, just go. Because it's not like I'm going to quit, you know? You're the one quitting. I'm still going to be here. Can't you learn something? No, I can learn something from the people who care enough to stay and are engaged in the process. They're the ones I learn from. The people that are just whining and leave, they head off. It's okay. She worked there 3 whole weeks. Now she's an expert on me, you know? So she sat down with me. She's like, oh. I said, oh. She said, I have to tell you, I'm so disappointed. I thought I'd come to work for a man of God. I said, well, I know. She said, you're supposed to be a spiritual person, and everything with you is all about the money. It's all about money with you. It's all about how much money you can make. I said, I know. It is with you too. She said, oh, no, not me. I said, I noticed you didn't volunteer your time. You expected to be paid. As a matter of fact, if your little payroll check on Friday would have bounced, you'd have gone into orbit and gone to the newspaper. With you, it is all about the money. Well, I'm not. I said, well, here's the problem. You have this ridiculous view of doctrine and this ridiculous view of life, and you were supposed to leave. And I'm sorry, but I'm glad you're leaving. You don't fit in here. Well, I never. And I said, I never do exit interviews. You asked for this. See why I don't do this stuff? Because I'm just not nice. I care about people enough to correct their course. So interview people. We use the DISC, the little personality test, and look at how their personalities tick and how they're going to interface with the rest of the culture. We don't not hire someone because of that or hire someone because of that. But the C is the compliant, the person that's very detail-oriented, and that's who you want doing accounting probably. Probably not the high I who's ADD and everything's a party, I'm here, right? That's not accounting, right? So, you kind of want to do a little bit of personality assessment as you're getting into the process. We do that. We've even got them on our doors. Outside of everybody's door is their name and what they do and a little bit about their bio and their DISC chart. So when you get ready to walk in there, you're going, okay, I see how that person functions. I now know how to communicate with that person. And it helps us internally with our culture as well. The most brilliant thing I've ever done hiring is this one. Oh, this is worth you being here. Oh, it's so good. I found this proverb. If you read Proverbs every day, it's the book of wisdom. There's 31 of them. You read one a day. It's a little spiritual one-a-day vitamin. If you read it over and over, you'll have a master's degree in finance. It's unbelievable. And so I'm reading it. Proverbs 31 says, who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts her, and he will have no lack of gain. Now, I have a virtuous wife. I have an incredible wife. She is off the charts excellent. She has a degree in home ec, and she's been a full-time mom since our 27-year-old was born. These are her qualifications to do business analytics. None. So you know how much I listened to her in the old days? Never. She couldn't possibly know anything. I've got all the business degrees. I have all these letters and licenses after my name. Everyone comes to me to ask me about money. Why would I ask you about anything? A little bit arrogant, just to say the least. But going broke will fix that for you. And so I hit the bottom, and I discovered this as a financial principle. Listen to your wife. Ladies, it also means listen to your husband, okay? You don't get off the hook. Not like you're the Holy Spirit. Give me a break. All right. And you will have no lack of gain. So when we got ready to start moving again, crawling out of our mess after I was dumb and drove the car off a cliff, and she's going, I don't think this is going good. And I'm going, oh yeah, it's great. Just pedal the metal. More, bigger. Yeah, bigger fire when you crash. Yeah, so we made a decision. I made a decision after I read that proverb, and it went through my head into my heart and changed my life. I don't make major decisions unless Sharon and I are in agreement, and she doesn't make major decisions unless we're in agreement. When we're doing our giving, we're in agreement. When we're getting ready to do a big deal, now I don't ask her about whether Eclipse or Chiclets, okay? Major decisions, right? Major decisions, big money stuff, or something that's really important to us. So if I'm signing a big deal with Fox Business, Sharon's in the meeting. We're signing a deal with Simon & Schuster for the publisher. She's in the meeting. She probably will say nothing because she's not a big talker and she's a pretty private person. But when we leave the meeting, I'll say, how did you feel about those people? Key word, how did you feel about those people? Because that's how she processes this. If she's from the hills of East Tennessee, and for her, it's a 7-syllable word. If she has a feeling, and I go against the feeling, it costs me at least $25,000 every time I do. I don't go against her feelings, ever. And she very seldom plays that card. Out of 25 of those meetings, she'll have a feeling twice. Because she's not there out of arrogance. She looks at that as a role, a place of honor. And part of being virtuous is not throwing your weight around all the time. And so she doesn't play that card. So what we decided to do when we first started was, we're gonna, on the last interview, after we interview everybody, right before the final interview is, if you're married and you're coming on our team, you and your spouse go out to dinner with me and my spouse. And we just have dinner and break bread and we talk, and I tell your spouse some of the stuff I've been telling you before you come on board, and y'all get to meet Sharon, and we and then you guys go home and talk about and pray about whether this is a fit or not, and we're going to go home and talk about and see if Sharon has a feeling. We have never gone against her feeling, but twice when I overrode it because I thought she was wrong, and both of them were disasters. It's a crazy filter. It keeps crazy out of the building. The spouse interview as the final hire. Now, I don't do those anymore unless they're leadership roles, and I do go out with a leadership role with the spouses and interview them. I want to talk to the spouse. When the spouse talks to me, I want to share and to meet them and deal, because a leadership role is someone we're trusting not only to take one of our products to market, but to serve our team and pastor our team and love on our team.